Uh, I can't. This is too serious for that. Hey guys, Reaper the Rage here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Um, yeah. So let's talk. Let's have a little bit of a discussion here about Logan Paul, Black Mirror, and the impact of consequences. Let's say that's what this video is going to be about. So how does Logan Paul tie to Black Mirror? And here's the thing. Let me start this off by saying I told myself I wouldn't make this video. I told myself I wouldn't jump on the bandwagon of Logan Paul. It's a 2 + 2 = 4 situation with this. It's so fucking obvious that what he did was wrong, and anyone defending him is wrong, and there's no way to do that. That's like that's the equivalent of saying, yeah, Hitler was a bad guy, but he should have free speech. No, you don't get to say that. And if you agree with that person at all, if you defend them at all, you are part of the problem. Okay? So let's get that clear off the bat. There's no defending Logan Paul here. Okay? I don't want to see that in the comments. I don't want to see any of these little stupid, fans coming around here saying any of that shit. Okay? Okay? Good. But I said I wouldn't jump on this because I thought it was dumb and it was just stupid, and the shit he did on his trip to Japan was just retarded, and that being the icing on the fucking cake, just but um, last night I was up late watching Black Mirror. I've been binging that show lately, and the final episode of season 3, for those of you that don't know, is an episode about consequences, basically. And I believe it's titled "Hated in the Nation." I think that's the name of the episode, and it's an entire thing of like this guy going around and like killing people, right? And killing people who are hated by everybody else. And you think, okay, because they're bad people, they're getting hated. In which some of them did bad, and like the first one was horrendous, the second one was horrendous, and the third person was kind of a douche, but not really horrendous. And then you got to the end game of the guy, which was he wasn't actually targeting the people that he was killing. He was targeting the people that he was using to kill. So the way he was doing it was he had this hashtag set up, and he would basically wait for whoever was on the top spot. So, if say, I don't know, the prime minister of Malaysia got, the most basically downvotes in a single day, he would kill them next. But the end game was to record who had used that hashtag, and then he killed 387,000 people because they were worse than the other guys. They willfully participated in a game of death, and they didn't think about their consequences. And that got me thinking, and I'm thinking, huh, interesting. I'm not and me, I've been called a cynic and a nihilist and a this and a that, and I don't know. I couldn't feel anything for those 387,000 people because it's not like they were tricked into it. Like it is straight up when you go to use the hashtag for the first time in that episode, it was like there was a video telling you of what would happen. It said that that person would die, and there was proof of this, right? There was complete proof of this, like every day when he did it. And this is not new. This is not a new idea, by any stretch of the imagination. This idea of, like, what if you could just wish all the bad people in the world to be dead? Um, God, I don't know where this video's gone. I really don't. But basically, that's the setup. Is like, that. And I really was trying to understand why, so many people would act without thinking about their consequences. And then it hit me. It's anonymity. It's the online world. It's this disconnect between normal people and other people across the world. It's this thing that all humans do, like, and we've all been guilty of it at one point or another, where we say something just because no one knows who we are. And in my take on it has always been that if you're gonna say something, you stand by that, and you don't try and weasel out of it. And who you are online should be just as much of who you are offline. You should try and be the same person. Now, obviously, there's people that put on characters, like Doctor Disrespect or something, but here's the thing: I don't care. I don't pity them. I don't excuse that. I don't care what their stupid actor thing is. If that's who they want to portray themselves as constantly, then that's who they are. you know? And, there's people that do skits and stupid shit all the time. That's fine. That's one thing. That's a joke. But Logan Paul is a monster. This is what he acts like all day. He is a child. He is I don't want to start throwing around slurs and insults because just I that would derail the conversation. But I'm trying to think of what I could refer to him as without, because he's not an adult. Adults don't act like that, and if they do, they're not adults in my book. That's not how a mature adult is supposed to act. And it's just stupid what he did. But let's consider for a minute what he did, right? And people are rightfully pissed that he was monetizing a video showing a dead body, and the dead guy was in the thumbnail, so you can't act like, oh no, it was a different message. But no, the dead guy was in the thumbnail. It was clickbait. It was for views. He filmed a dead body and used it for money. That's exactly what he did. And it just I don't get it. It's all right. Let me take a step back here. I said I was watching Black Mirror last night, right? But that's not what completely like propelled me into this and wanting to make this video. After I got done watching Black Mirror, it was like 3 in the morning. I had been bitching. And then I went on YouTube to just find a video that I've watched 1,000 times, like mini lad or something, just, because that's usually what I do. I'll watch a video I've already seen, so if I get tired in the middle of the video, I can cut it off and no worries, I don't miss anything, and I don't have to pay attention, I can just kind of clock out. But when I was on there was something that popped up in my feed, and I don't know why, but it was this thing from a guy named the Gaijin Goomba, and I've never heard of this guy, right? Not in a million years. And it was this video talking about Logan Paul. And of course, everybody's talking about it. But this guy, he brought something to the table that I hadn't seen before. He brought up this this idea that, okay, obviously what Logan Paul did was wrong, right? We can all agree to that. And obviously, he's a horrendous man-child, right? But there's another part of this that we're forgetting, and that, like, nobody noticed, and I didn't notice, that I haven't even thought about until I watched Gaijin Goomba's video about it. And he brought up the fact that this doesn't just look bad on Logan Paul, this doesn't just look bad on YouTube, this looks bad on all Gaijin, on all outsiders, on all Westerners, And it takes a lot of time and effort by an outsider to communicate with the Japanese. Now, Japanese people are very private and very respectful and very, they're big on honor and manners and basically if you would like tell somebody a dead baby joke in the West, they just wouldn't do that. Not unless you're alone at your house with somebody you've known for 5 years. That's how they don't understand the Logan Pauls of the world. They don't understand these idiots that walk around and act like idiots and bring what they would consider dishonor to their family. They don't understand that. And it's nothing on Japanese people. It's not their fault. It's their culture, and it's a different culture. It's not a bad culture. It's just a different culture. Just like our culture isn't inherently bad, it's just different, and every culture has aspects of it that are bad. And people sometimes jump the gun and say that, okay, Japanese people are racist, and in some areas that is true. In some regions of Japan, you can run into some, racist stuff, but not I would say not as much as it's not really racist against a particular skin color or a race. It's racist against outsiders in general. I don't think it matters what skin color you are. If you're not, Japanese, then you're not in the club for them, and or at least not at first, until you can show that you have respect for their culture and respect for their people, then they don't really accept you. They don't really, they just keep thinking, oh, here's another stupid tourist, right? Here's another stupid gaijin coming in here acting like an idiot. And that's exactly what Logan Paul did, is he made it that much harder for people like the Gaijin Goomba to go out and teach Japanese people about Western culture, and for the guy, and for in turn for the Japanese people to teach, people like the Gaijin Goomba about them, and trying to bridge that connection is what his video was about. He was he brought up that point, and I was just like, huh, I'd never actually thought of that impact. I'd never thought of the massive consequences that could have, and how it could seem to just be a reflection of Logan Paul and his followers, right? And in the West, maybe we could segment it to that and say, oh, this is just a dumb guy with dumb followers doing dumb things, right? And maybe in the West that's how we think of it, but to the Japanese, they look at that and go, "Oh, that's another product. He's just a product of the West. That's how gaijins act. That's how we're right to be racist. We're right to be prejudiced. We're right to profile people and look at them and go, well, you're just a stupid outsider, and I shouldn't talk to you. I shouldn't I shouldn't do business with you. I shouldn't acknowledge you because you're just going to be another one like him. You know, like you're not real. You're putting on an act right now. And that's something that hit me, and I can't believe I hadn't thought of that before. It's like it's one of those things you just don't think about. You don't think about the impact. It just it's like you don't think of the consequences of something. It shows what like blissful ignorance of consequence can do. It's like if you just ignore that the fact that there should be consequences for your actions and there aren't, and nobody's doing anything about it. I mean, and this isn't just about the fucking video of the suicide forest, which was taken down, right? Because Logan Paul's a little bitch, and he didn't want, and he tried to hide it. He tried to hide it. The second people got mad, he took it down just so there wouldn't be consequences, and that proves that he knows it was wrong, and then he takes that down. And the first apology he puts up is shit. But it's not even about that video. It's about the rest of his videos. It's about the rest of his trip to Japan. If you watch those videos are still up on the internet perfectly, right? He's walking around like a fucking fool. He's doing things that you shouldn't do in any culture, let alone Japan, like in any country, right? You, he's walking around and he's acting like a fucking fool the whole time. He goes in this kimono shop and he puts on this fucking hat and mask, and he like caricatures Japanese people and their culture, and that pisses me off to no end, because it's cultural appropriation to the nth degree. Like he used the Japanese people as a joke. He used them as the butt of the joke. It is and he walked around. He jumped on a dude's truck, like a dude just driving around doing his job. He jumped on the back of like this little forklift, like flatbed truck. It's like, why? Why are you doing that? Why are you like this? Where are your mother and father? Where are the people that were supposed to give you guidance in this world and teach you manners and respect? And that's exactly what all of Japan was thinking when they saw Logan Paul. They were thinking, my God, is this how Westerners raise their children? To act like this? To be like this? And the whole time, I feel so sorry for the guy that's with them, their interpreter, who has to go around and explain Logan Paul's idiocy. Could you imagine how fucking hard that must be? Could you imagine? Imagine for a moment, your entire culture is based on respect and honor and integrity and decency in public, right? Now, whatever you do on your own time alone, nobody gives a shit about it. If it's in your house, it's in your house. No one's gonna care. No one's gonna question you, right? But when you're out in public, it's a whole new ballgame, right? Imagine you're in that kind of culture. You're in a culture where you need to be respectful of everybody you meet. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter if they're the highest high or the lowest of the low. You have basic, decent respect. You're at least raised with that, or supposed to be. You're supposed to have respect and manners and be thoughtful of others and think of the group before yourself, right? It's a familial value system. And, it's like one giant community in Japan. Like, the people in Kyoto are no different than the people in Nagasaki, right? They're all like thinking the same. It's not like in America where we have a bunch of different cultures, and if you go to California, you're going to run into people who are different from people in Texas. It's not like that. In Japan, they're all like one people. They learned long ago to be unified, and in that unification comes respect and honor and dignity and manners and not being nice to each other and being fake, but just being a decent human being, right? And if you try to act like a jackass when you're young, and you start acting like that, I shit you not when I say they will sometimes beat that out of you. And I don't really see a problem with that, you know. And I'm not talking like actually stomp your head into the ground, beat you. I'm talking they'll hit you with they'll swat you on the ass with a cane, you know, shit like that. That's they have like they are not even, you know, and that's not even the worst of it. They won't just do that. Like they'll try that at first as the knee jerk reaction, right? Like any parent would. Like if a parent sees a kid about to touch a hot burner, they smack their hand away from it. You know, if a kid's about to hurt themselves, what's the immediate response? Oh, hurt them, right? A little bit so they don't hurt themselves more, right? Get them scared of it, right? But that's not even the worst part in Japan. There are places like in the schools, for instance. If you start being disruptive in class, you will be placed outside of the class. They will leave you there. They will not. No one will talk to you. They will instruct all the students, all the instructors. No one will talk to you. No one will converse with you for a fucking week. And if you do it again, it'll be a month. They will not even try. They won't call your parents. They won't do any of that. They will notify your parents that you were being disruptive. That's the most that'll happen. Actually, no, they won't even do that. They'll make you do that. It's your responsibility to go to your parents and say, I was acting like a fuckwit, so everybody ignored me. It's like Amish shunning, but worse. Like and because the people around you are supposed to be the people that are in your society. That's how Japan is. Now imagine you take all that culture that I just mentioned, like all of that I was just talking about. Now imagine you're in there. It's, you know, 1 in the afternoon, you're, you know, walking around doing some shopping, whatever, and you notice a bunch of people just in a circle staring at something. And you go over there and you're like, huh, what's that? What are they looking at? Is there excuse me. Is there a Pokemon or something? Is there like some kind of like fucking, you know, game event or something? Like what's happening here? Like is there like some kind of street performance? And you go, and when you get to the front of the crowd, what do you see? You see a gaijin. You see some white dude acting like an idiot, filming people, which I wasn't even aware is a big no-no, right? Like filming in public over there is very strict. I didn't even know about this. I had to look it up, and it actually is. People, you know, like if you don't have permission to take someone's picture, you can actually be sued over that. I shit you not, that they actually have that strict of laws regarding a person and their image, right? And, you know, that can be good or bad, but that's not the conversation. The conversation today is he went over to a country knowing their customs, knowing the shit he did was wrong, and he did it anyway. And the worst part is, if he didn't, right? If you try and make the case, well, maybe he didn't know all the laws and maybe he didn't understand all the customs, that's fucking worse, because that means he went over there with a skewed perception of what Japan is, made a couple of jokes, filmed a dead guy, laughed about it, and I know he didn't laugh in response. He laughed, got close-up shots of this thing. If you're freaked out by a body, you don't get close to it and film it. That's not how it works. Okay? And it just... ignorance is worse than breaking a law that you know is wrong. Like, if I go to, you know, somebody's house and they have a rule about, I don't know, fucking leaving plates around or something, you know, or something like that. I don't know, something that we might think is trivial, but they take very, you know, seriously in their household. If I go to somebody's house and I start acting like a jackass, then number one, I didn't think to ask what the house rules are. I didn't think to give a shit about what the house rules are. Or number two, I knew, and I said, fuck you, I'm doing this anyway, in your house. How would that make you feel if somebody came up in your house, started doing shit you didn't want them to do, and didn't even give you the time of day to ask if what they were doing was right? Like, and this wraps right back around to Black Mirror, right? Is the other side of that. Now, remember I told you that in the Black Mirror episode, Hated in the Nation, in that, there was, you know, there was the hashtag thing, right? The hashtag Death2 thing in that episode. And it was this game to people, and they willfully participated. Now, here's the scariest part about that whole episode, that is why I love that episode. These 387,000 people, the reason I don't feel anything for them, the reason I didn't think, oh my god, 387,000 people are dead. No, fuck them. You know why? because two possibilities exist. Only two possibilities. Number one, they willfully participated in what they knew in a game they knew the rules of, right? Right? Or two, they were ignorant of what that thing could do and what power they had when participating in that little hashtag game they did. And that is the worst part. That's what we need to learn from this, is that there are ever only, in most situations in life, there are ever only two possibilities. There's ever only two options, right? Or, well, let's say there's two end results to any given situation, and the options to those end results are still the same. So, for instance, let me give a little bit of a example of this. So, let's say you're taken hostage, right? Like, there's a gunman, got a gun to your head, okay, typical thing. Two things happen out of that situation. Number one, you live. Number two, you die. That's all that can happen, is either you will live or you will die. Now, you could say, well, maybe I get shot and die later. Yeah, but you still died because of that situation. Well, what if the cop shoots him and the guy, you still live, right? It doesn't matter how you got there. That's the point I'm getting at, is there's ever only like two possibilities. Just like there was ever only two possibilities in the Logan Paul situation. Either one, he didn't know the customs, which is horrendous. And how dare you go to someone else's country without even reading up on what you should and shouldn't be doing first. You had a fucking interpreter there with you. He had a Japanese dude who was like his guide following him around and explaining to people what the fuck was up with this gaijin. He was trying to explain Logan Paul's idiocy. You had that guy there. You had him there the whole trip. You could have asked him at any point, hey, should I maybe not do this thing? I'm thinking about doing this joke or doing this for a joke. Is this okay? That's all you would have had to do. Vet yourself, right? And now people are going to say, oh, it's comedy. Oh, it's a joke. No. Somebody's culture is not a fucking joke. It's not a joke. It's not a costume. It's not a party to be had at somebody else's expense. And I'm all fine with jokes. Keep it on a fucking stage if you want to be a comedian. You don't go out in public and harass people. That's what he did. He harassed people. That's unacceptable in any nation, let alone Japan, where you can be sued for taking someone's picture without their permission. That's how serious they act in Japan. And it's not even an act. It's just how they are. It's their behavior. And I'm not going to act like that's a bad thing. It's their culture. I'm not going to say what's right or what's wrong about somebody's culture. I can look at my own culture and say there's parts of it I don't like. And I can look at their culture and say there's parts of it I don't like. But I can't say the entire thing as a whole is wrong. It's messed up. It's absolutely messed up. Now, unless their entire culture is something like fascist Nazism and, hanging people in the streets, right? That's a bit far. We can maybe agree that cultural relativism does have its limits. But fuck, man, like, this is something I don't think people understand about this whole Logan Paul situation. It's not really that he, like, filmed a dead body, right? People have seen dead bodies on TV all the time. There's violence and blood. That's not what people are should be clutching their pearls at. It's the fact that he went to another country and either A, willfully ignored their rules and customs, right? Or B, didn't even bother in the first place to learn their rules and customs. He didn't even give them the time of day to learn about their culture before he went there. That is the equivalent of an American, right? Or no, let's use somebody else, because Logan Paul is an American. That would be the equivalent of let's say, a Japanese guy, right? Coming over here to live and expecting everyone else to act Japanese and understand, why he's bowing to people, why he's taking his shoes off when he goes in his house, why he's, why he is so respectful and uptight as we might see it, or even worse is like, somebody going to a foreign country to live for an extended period of time, for a month, 2 months, a year, and not even trying to learn the culture. Right? It's one thing to be a tourist and be like, okay, I don't know the culture, I'm going to read up on it a little bit, and then, okay, well, I don't have time to learn Japanese, before the trip, which you fucking do. Don't bullshit me here. You can at least learn a few basics. But I don't have time to learn a whole nother language if I'm just going to be there for a week. Okay, that's acceptable because you're not planning to be there forever. But it's just rude to go to someone else's country, act like that, act like Logan Paul did, and then expect no consequences. He thought everything would be hunky dory. He wasn't pushing the envelope. He wasn't trying to see how far he could take the joke before people stepped in. That wasn't what he was doing. He was just doing it for the sake of doing it. He wasn't even trying anything. It wasn't a social experiment. It wasn't a trip into multiculturalism. It wasn't any of that. It was him being an asshole, right? And getting away with it. YouTube let him get away with it. Don't kid yourselves. Don't kid yourselves. This a week later? Are you fucking serious? A week after this video becomes the most hated thing on the internet. And you guys have the gall to come out now and say, oh yeah, no, this is bad, we're taking him off the program. No, dock his fucking videos for a month no matter what they are. That's what you should do. You should look at him and go, okay, Logan, you want to play this game, right? Let's see if you can pay your rent the next month without any monetized videos. Go ahead, put up any video you want for the next month, 2 months, 3 months, however long. Or don't even tell him that. Just wait. Oh, just wait. Wait for him to put up a video, immediately claim it. Take it down. Right? And replace it with some fucking, stupid video, right? That bashes Logan Paul. That's what it should do. But no, YouTube decided not to do that. Here's the thing is, at the end of the day, somebody has majority of control of YouTube, right? It's somebody, if you want to backtrack it all the way to Google, right? Then you got all the guys that work at YouTube, and then you've got the head guy that organizes them all. And then you've got then this head guy is part of a group that goes, it goes up. It's a structure, right? It's a pyramid. It's a power pyramid. It's a structure, right? And then you get to the very top, there's a guy in charge of all of YouTube. They have one guy. They don't have a fucking board of people deciding what's happening with YouTube. No, they have one guy in charge of that. Because that's how power works. It always gets consolidated when it reaches the top. And if I was that guy, I would immediately look at people like Logan Paul and, fucking Alex Jones, right? Stupid fucking people. I'd look at them and go, oh, okay, that's fine. That's interesting. And the second somebody like Logan Paul puts a video up like that, the second I see a Logan Paul Suicide Forest video like that, your channel's gone, buddy. It's gone. Okay? At least for a month. You will not have access to your channel. I will ban you for a month. And then people are going to scream censorship. Fuck you. It's a private platform. If you're on there, you can express yourself. That's fine. But if yourself is a rude piece of shit that acts like that and abuses a dead body for views, no. You will get no sympathy from me. You want my sympathy? You look at the dictionary between shit and syphilis. That is where you will find my sympathy. This whole thing. This whole thing is just... Okay, but that is it for this video, and I'm probably going to get some idiot trolls in the comments saying, oh, no, Logan Paul didn't do anything wrong. No, you don't get to say that. When, this is objectively wrong. This is not, subjective. This is not one man's opinion. This is wrong by any metric. It's wrong, and it's wrong. And if you can't follow that, shut the fuck up. Because you're not an adult, you're not rational, and you're not thinking. You're not using that fucking 3-pound organ between your brain and your fucking It just... I just hate when people act like children. I really do. Grow the fuck up, people. Grow the fuck up. Seriously. Like, how hard is this? I don't know. But that is it for this video. I'm going to link the Gaijin Goomba's video down there in case you guys wanted to see what I was talking about with his video. He puts it a lot better than I do. He has a lot more command of his vocabulary and a lot more patience in his video than I do, and it's a lot more thought out than this was. I just had to say this or I was gonna go fucking crazy. This is one of those things where I just gotta say something. This is like the Kevin Spacey, Roy Moore fucking controversy, and the net neutrality and stuff. It's if it's important enough, I gotta say something about it. Anyway, that is it for this video. I don't hope you guys enjoyed this. I didn't enjoy this. I shouldn't have to make this video. I wish I lived in a world where where people didn't have to make videos putting down other people's videos for something that should be obviously wrong. Trying to explain this shit. I don't know. But that is it. Reap the Rager, signing off. Fuck you, Logan Paul.